Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I'm here to talk about Ignacio Bahamondes versus Christos Giagos. My pick is Bahamondes winning. I think he's the more sophisticated striker. I think he's kind of an underrated grappler. But I'm not betting on him, and I'm really just trying to resist the urge to bet on Christos Giagos. Because I think if Christos can get in on Bahamondes and rip him to the mat, then he can still exploit an underrated but subpar UFC ground game in Ignacio Bahamondes. I think he can be controlled anyway. But I'm picking against Giagos because he is the more vulnerable fighter. He's been submitted 6 times and knocked out twice. And I'll get into those. He's only lost to really good fighters. But I think if this fight is on the feet and he's kept a kickboxing bout as well, he is a step and a half behind Bahamondes. I think Bahamondes can get this fight going, keep it at kicking range, and his kicks are very sophisticated, and he will be definitely leading the dance against Giagos and probably flustering him. He's got excellent kicks, spinning wheel kicks, leg kicks, body kicks, front kicks. He's gotten quite a few knockouts with his kicks, Bahamondes. And I think in a points battle, still he dictates the fight. But Giagos is a little overlooked, I think, especially his durability. He's been submitted 6 times to very good fighters, even before he got to the UFC. Those are good fighters that tapped him. But inside the UFC, it's been Gilbert Burns, Charles Oliveira, Thiago Moises, and Daniel Zellhuber, who, I'm not going to lie, that loss opened up the possibilities in my mind for Ignacio Bahamondes winning by submission, which I might take a stab at if the odds are juicy, but it's still not my pick. But he and Daniel Zellhuber rocked him before tapping him, by the way. So there's that. But Giagos is still vulnerable. It's definitely a liability, and that includes even against a guy like Ignacio Bahamondes. I think Bahamondes is a little underrated in the submission grappling realm. But on the feet, he's not underrated. And on the feet, Giagos has been taken out. But it's been twice, and they're the killers. He's been knocked out by Arman Tsarukyan a year or two ago and Josh Emmett before he got to the UFC. So there's definitely a little forgiveness there. And he's probably a healthier fighter than people give him credit for sure. I should get into Bahamondes' losses. He's got 2 by submission, 3 by decision. Preston Parsons armbarred him. That's on the Contender Series. And then he lost another one by submission. I didn't see that one. But his 3 decision losses I have seen. 2 of them were pretty close. The John McDessie fight was razor thin, although I thought he was playing the game too much, letting John McDessie fight his fight instead of kicking him. And against this guy, Salvador Becerra, it was another razor-thin fight. That was his last loss before coming to the UFC. Really close. Could have gone the other way for sure. But his one legit decision loss is in his last loss to Ludovic Klein. And I am the guy who actually called that one correctly, Ludovic Klein. But Ludovic Klein is a very sharp technical striker and very good grappler as well. It's forgotten. Most people forget how good of a grappler Ludovic Klein is, but he's an underrated grappler, certainly, and just a much sharper technical fighter altogether than Christos Giagos. Giagos is similar, but he's just a little slower, a little less sharp, a little overall less dangerous, in my opinion. Although Ricky Glenn might disagree with that. But yeah, that's the thing. He's gotten a few wins in the UFC, Giagos, but nothing of value. Ricky Glenn might still be in the UFC. I don't know. But if he is, he's the only guy Giagos has beaten that is still in the UFC. And I think Giagos will lose a kickboxing battle here. I think he might have his moments getting Bahamondes to the ground, but he's not going to be able to submit him. And I think Bahamondes will generally be able to keep this fight standing and keep Giagos off of him and winning at kicking range. So Bahamondes is the pick. The bet will probably be on Christos Giagos and then some props that are juicy. But the pick is Bahamondes wins a decision. I think it's a pretty close fight. I think Giagos does get in his face. But overall, I think it's a fight that's fought at kicking range, and you know who wins that one. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit, and check out my other videos.